for my future shot flyers with iPhones and plasma TVs. The whole world must love all these flyers, 'cause they publish them 7 days per week. Sometimes I admit, but I wonder what the old folks did back in the day. 'Cause how could you celebrate Christmas, baby, without Zellers or Sears or the Bay? What has become of the Presbyterian Church? Honestly, nonsense like that going on. And I have a very serious sermon to counterbalance that nonsense. I'm going to tell you about ancient documents that I have found that no one else has ever seen in the whole world. You all know and love the Holy Bible from which we live our lives. I have uncovered an alternate version of the Bible. You know that our Bible is stories about victory and joy and hope and triumph. It was written by the descendants of the Israelites who knew God. Well, this alternate Bible that I found was not written by the Israelites. It was written by the Mizrahites. And they were an ancient group of people who lived parallel to the Israelites, but where the Israelites believed and trusted in God for the future and saw victory and hope everywhere, the Mizrahites saw only misery and despair, and they did not trust God for their future. They acted with fear and trembling. Whenever there was a great challenge and the Israelites went forward, the Mizrahites went backwards. I'll give you a few excerpts from the Mizrahite scripture so you'll know what I mean. You know the story of the crossing of the Red Sea in Exodus. Well, the Mizrahites were at that place and they had their own story. When Moses raised his hands up over the Red Sea and the seas parted for the people, and the people said, "Look what God has done for us. We will go ahead." The Mizrahites were at the back of the line saying, "Hey, wait a second. What's holding up all of that water? I don't see any kind of a wall or a dam or a barrier. I'm not going through there." And Moses saith unto them, "Forward into the promised land." And the Mizrahites said, "Moses, are you nuts?" And instead of crossing over, they turned back and went back to Egypt, where the Egyptians welcomed them back as slaves, and they lived their lives out with certainty and security. Well, they were slaves too, but they weren't going to risk everything crossing the Red Sea. Now, a few of the Mizrahites must have made it across. I think somebody carried them while they were sleeping because they wouldn't have gone themselves. But when the people reached Rephidim and they were all very thirsty, there were some Mizrahites left. And the Mizrahites said, "We're all about to die of thirst." And if you pick up the Mizrahite Bible, this is what happened. God told Moses to take his staff and strike the rock. And so Moses took his staff and he struck the rock. And his staff broke. And he saith unto the Lord, "Lord, this was my favorite staff." And the Mizrahites said, "We told you this wasn't going to work. We are all going to die." And they did.